Hi there, my name is Diane, but you can just call me D. For today's video, I thought I would talk about a few of the hyped books here on booktube that I want to read. So I compiled a list of 10 books that I think, in my opinion, through the people I watch, are hyped. Those might be different for you if you watch other people. I'm sure later on I can make another video just like that. Okay, so maybe I have to say that for each book I'm just gonna give what the blurb said on Goodreads, and maybe I'll talk about what it's about if I know, and any other comments I have. Let's start. The first one is The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. So the blurb for this book says, a magical island, a dangerous task, a burning secret. What? So basically it's about a government worker who has to go to orphanages and see if children are being well treated. So I'm super excited because it's sort of a magical realism story. Definitely fantasy though. I think the children have maybe some sort of powers. As an extra little note, I know that the author has said that at its core this book is really about kindness, so that's very interesting to me. I've heard only raving reviews about this book. It's pitched on booktube as the middle grade for adult. It's queer. I just heard so much good things about it, so I'm really excited for that one. The next book is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. So this is a classic. The blurb says, this is the tale of the magically gifted young man who grows to be the most notorious wizard his world has ever seen. So it's pretty promising. Just the fact that this is about wizards is already great for me. It's often been compared to Harry Potter because there's a school of magic in there, but I think this has kind of been debunked. So I'm not really sure what this is about. Anyway, so I know that it's someone who is narrating. That was loud, sir. Oh yeah? Okay. So I know that someone is narrating their childhood and their time through the school and maybe like after that. So I know the writing is supposed to be very poetic and beautiful. So I'm just super excited. The only issue I think for this that I've heard a lot about is that the series hasn't been finished. There's this uncertainty that if you start the series, it might not be finished because the author wants to write whenever they want to write, which is totally fair. So yeah, the next book would be The Martian by Andy Weir. The blurb says, 6 days ago, astronaut Mark Watney became one of the first people to walk on Mars. Now he's sure he'll be the first person to die there. So that's super exciting. I mean, I know it's kind of I suppose a sci-fi here, but basically it's an astronaut who gets stranded on Mars by himself, and I've heard that it's supposed to be extremely funny. I know that there's a movie with I believe Matt Damon. That'd be really cool for me to read the book and then see the movie. From what I've heard, I don't think it's necessarily like the greatest book, but people just enjoyed reading it. So that's always nice. The next book is Nevermoor by Jessica Townsend. The blurb says, a cursed girl escapes death and finds herself in a magical world, but is then tested beyond her wildest imagination. This is a middle grade. This little girl is cursed and then she's being taken away into this magical world, and there's maybe like some tournaments happening. So a lot of buzzwords that I'm very interested in. I don't know much about it. I just know people recommend this one as a middle grade quite often. I'm intrigued to see what the fuss is all about. So the next one, it's more two-in-one. It's The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. The blurb says, this rendering of the epic Trojan War is a dazzling feat of the imagination, a devastating love story, and an almighty battle between gods and kings, peace and glory, immortal fame and the human heart. Basically, this is a retelling of the Greek book The Iliad by Homer, And I think the next book by the same author is Circe. Both of them are retellings, and I've heard so much good about them. Very like emotional, deep, sad. People were caring for the characters. It's heart-wrenching. So I'm super excited. It sounds like it's something that's gonna hit me right in the feels. Can't wait to read that one. I do have this one physically, so I could start whenever technically, but the next one is a high fantasy. It's The Theft of Swords by Michael J. Sullivan. So the blurb is amazing. It says, they killed the king, they pinned it on 2 men. They chose poorly. That is just so amazing to me. It is so intriguing. I know I wanted to read another book in like the same universe, but I learned that it's better to start with this one. It's basically the adventures of a thief and a warrior that are basically both forced to be together. So it's part of the Raybearer Revelations series. There is a lot of books in that universe, to be honest. So if I enjoy this book, I'm like super excited that there are multiple other books I can continue reading. I hear mostly about this book when I watch people that are very much into high fantasy, adult high fantasy, which I am. So I'm super excited. I mean, I can say that just the fact that they basically, I suppose, have to fight and prove their innocence and prove whoever is guilty. That is just so interesting. I'm sure there's gonna be so much action, so much plot twist, politics, a lot of fun, I'm sure. So I'm really excited about that one. Obviously, I'm excited about all of them because I chose them because I want to read them. The next one is Raybearer by Jordan Ifueko. The blurb says, nothing is more important than loyalty, but what if you've sworn to protect the one you were born to destroy? Excuse me. It's already on hold in my library, so I'm really excited about it. I have no idea what it's about really, just that it's a high fantasy and that it's queer. I don't know what it's about. The blurb is enough for me to be intrigued and want to get into it. I've heard so many good things about it, that it's an amazing book, so I don't need anything else. The next book is a little bit different. It's Radiance by Grace Draven. So it's a romance fantasy or fantasy romance. I'll read you the blurb. So 2 people brought together by the trappings of duty and politics will discover they are destined for each other, even as the powers of a hostile kingdom scheme to tear them apart. Okay, so it's basically 2 individuals, I believe. One is like a human, the other is a monster. They hate each other, they find each other appalling, they don't find each other attracting at all, and it's the story of them becoming friends and then becoming lovers, I think. I'm excited to get into romance fantasy or fantasy romance a little bit more and see what I like, what I don't like in that genre. The penultimate one is An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. The blurb says, every enchantment has a price. So this book is about, I think, a painter who is commissioned to paint the portrait of a fairy, but she by mistake put emotions into the painting, and so drama ensues, I suppose. I've read the newest book by this author, which is A Sorcery of Thorns. I enjoyed it like so, but I've heard that if you've enjoyed Sorcery of Thorns, you are less likely to like An Enchantment of Ravens. But if you did not really enjoy The Sorcery of Thorns, then you are more likely to enjoy An Enchantment of Ravens. I can't wait to try and see if that's true. I believe that this is more of a fantasy romance also. It's more about the romance than really anything else, but I'm still really excited about it. Alright, and the last but not least is The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. This is part of a adult high fantasy that is extremely popular on booktube, off booktube. Apparently it has a lot of books in this series and it's very beloved. I didn't really know anything about it until I started watching people who are really into high fantasy, and I learned about many books, which was amazing, but especially that one has been referenced to again and again. So I don't really know what it is about, just that it's from the Wheel of Time series. The blurb says, the wheel of time turns and ages come and pass. What was, what will be, and what is may yet fall under the shadow. Let the dragon ride again on the winds of time. So there's dragon there? So that's kind of cool, kind of interested about that. But yeah, I mean, I guess this is a little bit anticlimactic. I just don't really know much about this. Feel like I should at least try it, even if it's kind of old. Maybe it might be outdated, I don't know, but I think I should at least try it. So of all the books I just listed, I basically have 2 physically with me, and then I have some that are on hold at the library and some that once I get through my library books and other of my holds, then I will add them later on. So I'm pretty excited. What are the books that you've heard so much about that you cannot wait to read? Let me know in the comments down below. Alright, my next video should be the opposite of this video. It's gonna be the hyped books that I don't want to read. So we'll see how this one goes. Like this video if you like being in the loop with the books and reading the books that everybody is talking about, and subscribe if you enjoy my content, and I will see you next time. Bye.